Hi everyone, welcome to the US market update video. Here we'll be analyzing the major indices like S&P 500, NASDAQ 100 and the mid cap as well as the Russell 1000 and Russell 2000 index, and we'll try to analyze these indices on a daily and weekly time frame, and we'll try to find out what the charts are trying to tell us. So first we'll start with S&P 500 index. We are viewing the S&P 500 index on a daily time frame. As we can see, this particular week was very bearish, and the sellers are clearly in control. And especially on Friday, the market closed down showing significant weakness, showing that the sellers are clearly in control. So we were expecting some kind of consolidation, and then we thought that we might move up to newer levels, but it looks like the market wants to move down. So now on a daily time frame, the significant level that we need to watch out for is the August lows around 5,100 levels. So if we retest this and if we break down further, then we'll be on a downtrend on a monthly time frame as well. So right now we are in a downtrend in a daily time frame as well as in a weekly time frame, but on a monthly time frame we are still in a uptrend. So the overall trend on a monthly time frame is still up, but if we retest it the August lows, and if we break down and make newer lows, then we might turn into a downtrend on a monthly time frame as well. So now let's look at S&P 500 on a weekly time frame. So as we can see from here, the week also showed significant weakness. It's a one big red candle showing that the sellers are clear in control. So we lost our close to 4.25% this week, especially after a strong pullback last week. Like we had one of the strongest weeks, but the most recent week was very bad, starting from Monday till Friday. The market was showing weakness, and the stocks were, most of them were showing declines. And that is on the S&P 500. We lost close to 4.25% on a weekly time frame basis. So let's now look at the RSP, which is the equal weight S&P 500 index. So the story is pretty much the same. We tried to scale new highs back in August. We made a new high in August, but since then we have been declining and the market has been showing weakness. And on Friday especially, we lost close to 1%, and on a weekly time frame basis we lost close to 3% on the equal weight 500 index. So now let's look at NASDAQ 100 index on a daily time frame. So the story is pretty much the same. Like we are making lower highs compared to this high is lower, and like the S&P 500 index as well. On Friday the NASDAQ index closed around dropped around 2.69%, and on a weekly time frame basis we lost close to 5.89%, which is a significant move like if you compare the index. Like for an index to drop 5.89% in 1 week is a pretty significant down move. And just like the S&P 500, the levels that we need to watch out for is the August lows that we made. If we retest it, and we might look for a bounce back, or we don't know if the market wants to move further down, which is very much likely a possibility as well. So we just have to listen to what the market is trying to tell us, and then react accordingly, rather than trying to predict the direction. And then because predicting the direction is always very difficult, it's much better trying to listen to what the market is trying to tell us, and then position our swing trades or our long-term trades accordingly. Now let's look at QQQE, which is the equal weight NASDAQ 100 index. If we look at it on a daily time frame, it's a similar story compared to just like the other indices. We had a pretty rough week where the sellers were clearly in control. For the equal weight, we are almost at the 200-day moving average, which is indicated by this yellow line. So the close is in fact below the 200-day moving average, or for 200-day moving average, and which is Some of them use the 200-day moving average as an index filter as well, like like an index filter or a regime filter that decides when they will, how much cash they will raise and how much positions they will maintain and how much risk they want to maintain in the market. So this is also a pretty significant level to watch out for. Now, if you compare the S&P 500 equal index and the QQQ equal weight, you can see that the S&P 500 equal weight made a newer high in end of August. Like you can see from these two significant points that we have connected here, it made a new high towards the end of August. But when you look at QQQ equal weight, you can see that we made a lower high. So one of the principles of the Dow theory, one of the 6 principles of the Dow theory is that all the indices should be in alignment. Like like for S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100, these are pretty important indices. And we can see that there is some kind of a disalignment between the equal weight S&P 500 index and the QQQ equal weight index. They are like one made a all-time like a newer high, whereas the other index is moving in the downward direction. So this kind of disalignment between the indices shows that there is uncertainty in the market, and when there's uncertainty, the sellers are usually in control and the buyers are usually not in control during these uncertain phases. So we can expect all the indices are showing that we are in a very bearish territory, or where the market is really in a bad state right now. Now let's look at the mid-cap index as well. So the mid-cap index has also been moving in the sideways direction for quite some weeks now, as you can see from the price action in this chart. It's been moving in the sideways, oscillating between this narrow range. And if we look at the Russell 1000 index as well, we had a pretty bad week. We lost close to 1.67% on Friday, and on a weekly time frame basis, we lost close to 4.26. And just by looking at the candles itself, we can see that it's a very bearish candle. It was a very bearish week. We need to watch out for whether we are taking out the August lows. So for all the indices, we need to watch out. The key levels to watch out for would be the lows that we made in August, towards the end of August. So if that is taken out, then it will be more bearish in the market. So that is a key level to watch out for any of the indices that you're following. The similar story in the Russell 2000 index as well. On a weekly basis, we lost close to 5.53, which is a pretty significant drop for an index. So all these indices moves are showing that the sellers are clearly in control, and the market is very bearish right now. So one thing to note is the difference between theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge. So theoretically, when the interest rate cuts drop, what equities are supposed to do well. That is what economists would do, will tell you, and what the theory tells us is that when the interest rates drop, the equities have to do well. But what we are observing here, and what we have observed on previous instances as well, is that when the interest rates actually begins to drop, or when the news around the Fed actually dropping the interest rate cuts, when the news is, or when the information is released, the equities are not actually doing well. This is because the one main reason is that markets are always forward looking, and this piece of information that the rates cuts would happen in September has already been factored in the stock prices and in the index prices as well. So the market right now is looking for more positive news, or so that it can move a scale higher, so that it can move further ahead. So if there is no positive news, or if there are no positive news, then we might look at the market moving in the sideways direction, or even towards even moving towards bearish territory, because that's what the indices are currently trying to tell us. Like right now, the sellers are clearly in control. So this is the time where we will have to spend less time on charts and more time like raising cash, or like revisiting your portfolio positions. This is the time for that. I would not be initiating any fresh positions right now, other than the signals that I get from my systematic system, like my momentum system. We can also see that there is a significant drop in momentum of all these stocks and the major indices as well. I'll be covering that in another video. Please do subscribe to this channel if you found some value. Thank you for